For those of you that don't know what horsting, what? What's up, guys? It's Ashnichrist. Welcome back to Stream Coach TV, episode 12. In this episode, not only are we going to be talking about streaming to help you guys out on your journey, but we're also going to be talking about hosting. For those of you that don't know what hosting is, it's basically whenever you are either the stage presence or the presence within a piece of content to deliver and communicate that content or stage experience to people. Hosting is a very sexy job for a lot of people because whenever you first get into the gaming scene, it's one of the first careers that you see, and everybody kind of sees those forward-facing hosts as someone that they can aspire to be, because usually whenever you get into the entertainment industry, you want to learn to be good on camera and learn how to be a great speaker. And hosting is kind of the culmination of those skills. Hosting is also kind of an enigma to a lot of people because so many people are interested in it, but there's not really a clear-cut path to get into it. So we're going to talk about that as well in this interview with Jess Brohard, who has been a host now for a few years within the gaming scene. She has a lot of industry experience, and I feel like you guys are going to pull a lot out of this conversation, not only about streaming, of course, but also about how that ties into being an esports presence and how to put yourself on that path to becoming a host within the gaming scene. So before we get into hosting and the interview, let me tell you a little bit more about Jess Brohard. Jess actually got her start in 2012 and has been making YouTube videos at this point for about 5 years. A lot of her videos focus around the gaming industry in general, but she also has some good interaction on her videos that are her responding to negative comments from nerds on other videos, like the ones that she made for Curse. Not only is Jess a partnered streamer on Twitch, but she also streams consistently on Periscope as well, and Jess, that is a beautiful face if I do say so myself. Jess is most well known for her work as an esports host with various companies, including Curse, Marvel, and even Valve. Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 12 of Stream Coach TV. My name is Ashnichrist, and in this episode, I have with me Jess Brohard. What's up, Brohard?
Hi. What's up, Ashley?
How are you tonight?
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I appreciate this.
I am really excited. For those of you guys that don't know Jess, she has been around for a while. She has been a video host, an esports host, a streamer. She's made content. She's kind of done everything that includes being a person on camera. So I feel like this is going to give you guys some really great input and advice as far as if you do want to take a streaming career in the direction of maybe hosting an esports event someday, or doing video content for a production company, or making your own stuff. She can give you all of the inside advice about that. So let's go ahead and start with your Twitch background first off. How did you find Twitch? What inspired you to start streaming and kind of getting involved within the gaming industry, Jess?
That's a great question. I'm trying to remember because I feel like a lot of people ask me how I got started with Twitch, and I honestly don't remember the first time. Like, I think, okay, for me, the first time I discovered, like, live streaming was when I remember a friend of mine was on Justin TV doing this nugget challenge where you basically try to eat 50 chicken nuggets without throwing up.
What?
And that was the first time I had heard of Justin TV. And then shortly after Justin TV came along, of course, there was Twitch TV. And at that time, I was still, like, very much into video games, and but I hadn't really done anything professionally as far as video games go. But just the fact that, like, I was aware of Justin TV at the time, I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe someday I'll stream games on Twitch.
What was your headspace at that point? Were you kind of afraid of it, or maybe intimidated? How did you feel about just, like, finding this huge platform that a lot of people were involved in?
I would say I was more intrigued than anything.
Oh.
I was like, well, this is really interesting. This is really weird that people are going to watch my friend eat 50 chicken nuggets. You know?
That's actually amazing. Do you have any good stories from your streams where you've done something crazy like that? You've eaten 50 chicken nuggets, maybe 51 chicken nuggets?
No, I haven't done anything crazy like that on my personal streams, so no.
Talk to me a little bit about like a day in the life of your streams. What do you feel like is kind of the value that you give to the platform, and what kind of community do you have or are you trying to build right now?
Well, I have a really incredibly nice community, and I have said this for years, but my community on Twitch is just the best, and they're so incredibly kind and nice and just really supportive people who really try to uplift each other. And we really communicate on a day-to-day basis about like how everyone's day was, or our we celebrate each other's victories, and we yeah, I just have a really, really nice Twitch community, and that's basically the reason that I stream. So,
How much of your time do you actually spend streaming as compared to like hosting events or making content?
well, I try to stream on a daily basis. It doesn't always work out, of course, with my schedule, but I try to stream on a daily basis. Um, And I don't know, it's hard to give an estimate on like what percentage of time I spend streaming versus hosting or anything. But at this point in my life, and everything's different, but at this point in my life, I host events approximately 10 days per month. And I try to also stream on the days that I host events. But even if it doesn't work out, I try to stream every other day that I'm not hosting.
That's actually very intense. Like streaming itself is already extremely taxing, emotionally, and just like with your energy levels. You have to be really good at regulating your energy. So how are you able to kind of like regulate energy whenever you're streaming and also hosting? Do you have any like advice for people that are looking to put more energy into their streams, or do you have like any kind of strategies or habits that make you good at just being on all the time and just being entertaining for people consistently?
That's a very good question. And I think for me, I just am really energized by the fact that I have such a supportive community and such an amazing community, honestly, here on Twitch. And that really energizes me. Like every time I stream, I just feel so supported and uplifted by my viewers. And that makes it really, really easy, honestly, to keep going, is when even if I'm like having a bad day, and I go live, and my chat is just so nice, and they're just full of such supportive comments, and so that really like makes it so easy. That makes streaming feel like a relaxation mode. That just makes it feel like something fun, which obviously it already is fun, but just having such a supportive chat makes me feel a lot more energized.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen you stream on Periscope too. You're pretty active on there, right?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
How
Yeah,
often do you stream on Periscope, and what is your strategy for streaming on that platform as well?
I try to stream almost every day on Periscope, and a couple days I'm too busy and I'm not able to, but I try to stream almost every day on Periscope. And once again, it's just the fact that whenever I go live on Periscope, my viewers are just so incredibly nice and they're so supportive. And it's the weirdest thing because whenever I stream on Periscope or whenever I stream on Twitch even, I feel like I'm kind of asking people to I almost feel like I'm asking a favor of my viewers. I almost feel like I'm asking them to watch me. And yet, every time I stream on Periscope or Twitch, I get people saying, "Hey, thanks for the stream. Thank you for streaming." And it's the best feeling for me because I'm always like, "Hey, no, thank you for watching. Seriously, thank you for watching." It's amazing.
Yeah, that's so great. And that's really cool. I'm so inspired by people that just get this extremely like fulfilling sensation from their streams, which obviously you do. Like that's something that's very emotional to think that like I'm impacting somebody's day to the level that I am. So that's really great. That's really great, and I'm really glad that you enjoy it as much as you do. Can you tell me a little bit about how you started hosting? I know we've talked about this before, but how did you start hosting? Who found you, and where did that journey begin?
Yes, I love this question because I get asked this so many times, and it has been such an incredible, long journey, but I'm going to try to sum it up in less than 2 minutes. Okay, so basically, right after I graduated college, I had a day job. I worked at JP Morgan Chase as an IT risk manager was my job title. And I would go to work during the day from 9 to 5, and then I would come home in the evenings, and I started a YouTube channel. I bought a pretty okay camera, a Canon T2i, and I bought like a green screen and some like really shitty like basic lighting setup, and I launched a YouTube channel where I like wrote, hosted, and produced a 3 times a week gaming news segment. And my goal there was never to get huge on YouTube or anything, but I was hoping to get noticed by someone who wanted to hire me for my hosting. And I got really incredibly lucky because that's what happened, because after about 6 months of this really low production value YouTube setup that I had, I got an offer to do some freelance work for a startup company out in California. And then after about 3 more months of that, I got offered to be hired on full-time by that same company. So I moved out to California and started hosting videos for them for a couple months. After that, I got basically noticed by another YouTube channel that wanted me to host for them, so I started hosting for them as well. And then a few months later, Curse contacted me and said, "Hey, we saw you hosting for mmobomb.com. Would you like to interview for a full-time position out here?" So I said yes. So I interviewed for them, and then I got hired on full-time for them, worked for them for about 1.5 years. And then after that, I started freelance hosting in the Dota scene. And sorry, I feel like this story has gone on for a very long time.
No. I love hearing your backstory. I think that people are going to find that extremely valuable because that journey is super interesting.
I don't think so. Like, I thought it was at first, and then I started telling it, and I realized I've been talking for so long. I've been talking for so long.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Next question. This is terrible.
Well,
I'm boring.
So the thing that I love is like you started out just very, very small on YouTube. Like you bought some basic equipment, and from there you ended up at Curse. You ended up hosting Dota stuff. Like what? How does that happen? What do you think it was that these companies saw in you?
I want to say it's just determination, I think. I hope. I mean, because that's what I feel like I have. I feel like anything else I have, like, tenacity and determination.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what stuck out to them. And I mean, honestly, in the end, who knows? But I'm very, very lucky that Curse did see that in me, and that, you know, because I accredit a lot of my career success to my work at Curse, and I think it was just a great company to work for, and I'm just so very lucky and grateful that they like noticed me, I guess, and hired me like that, because I wouldn't be where I am today if not for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that it's really inspiring for people too that are getting into this landscape now, that hear like, I started a YouTube channel, and then I started hosting for random websites, and then I worked at Curse, and then I started hosting big esports events. Like, That is
Yeah.
that's an awesome journey. Do you feel like if people get into that now and they stick with it, that they can proceed on that same path that you went down?
Yeah, no, I absolutely think they can. And I mean, because honestly, being where I am today, I never would have expected it. And at the time, I just knew, I mean, like I told you, I graduated college, and I was like, I have to work in video games, I have to work in esports, but I don't know how to do it. And I just kind of took a chance. I started a YouTube channel, and I never thought it would lead here. I never thought it would lead to where it has led. I think it just kind of goes to show that you can never really predict like what's going to happen to you. And I think you just need to take every opportunity that is given to you. And it's just a combination of luck and hard work and really taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. Like if somebody is offering you this amazing opportunity, like I have been given several times, like yes, I worked hard and like okay, bragging moment. Like I do think I've worked hard to get where I am today, but I also will not deny that I was given several amazing opportunities in my career, and every single one of those opportunities, I took it and I fucking ran with it. Sorry, I don't know if I should curse on your podcast.
Yeah, you're fine. You're
Sorry.
fine. Somebody was talking about just like eating ass last night. I don't know. It was so you're good. You are fine.
All right, good. But all right, sorry. Well, just like every single opportunity, like I've been incredibly lucky in my career, but every single opportunity that I was given, I took it and I ran with it. I'm not going to take anything for granted. Like if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to do as much as I can with it.
Yeah, that's really good advice too, I think. And I feel like there's a quote that fits really well here, which is the harder I worked, the luckier I became.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my God. That
So,
is yes, very good.
can you talk to me
Yeah.
a little bit about how hard did you work? Like what was a day in the life like when you were trying to kind of build this empire for yourself?
Well, I mean, so, God, it's been a lot because the thing is that it never ends, is the thing.
Mhm.
And I'm someone who likes to keep busy, but you just never stop working. Which like sounds terrible, but it's okay because I love what I do, and like I love playing video games. I love being on camera, so it doesn't feel like work anymore. But the truth of the matter is, like when you get to this point, you never stop working, which is okay because like I love streaming. I love playing video games. I love creating YouTube content. I love hosting events. I love hosting videos. Like, so it just never stops. But what was the question again? Sorry, I got distracted by my own rambling.
You're good. Whenever you were trying to build this empire, like what was a day in the life like? Like
Oh yeah, what was it
from
in life like?
wake up to go to bed, what was your itinerary for the day?
Oh yes, okay. Well, here, okay, I'm gonna tell you two parts of the story because the first part of the story was when I was still working a full-time day job, and that was just honestly the lowest point in my life that I can remember, where I would go to work during the day, 9 to 5, and then I would come home in the evening and record video content and then edit it and then put it up on YouTube. And I was just busy constantly, had no social life, had no, like, nothing else besides my day job and my, what would hopefully become my day job. But in the end, it was worth it. And so that thankfully, only lasted like 6 months before I finally got my first job offer in the game industry. And since then, it's just been a whirlwind, and it's hard to say what would be a typical day in life now, just because my life has changed so much. It almost feels like every year or so, I'm at a different situation in life, but it's always been good. It's always been for the better.
Yeah, what is moving around a lot like that like? Like how do you readjust so quickly to a new space?
It's hard. It's not ideal, I would say. And I would say, and I don't know, maybe here's some like real talk. I have had to make a lot of sacrifices. I am very, very fortunate that I have a boyfriend I'm in the best relationship I've ever been in my entire life. And I'm very, very thankful for that. But I would say I have made a lot of sacrifices as far as personal relationships go, in order to pursue my dream career. And that's just kind of a reality of what you do. Is like, I love what I do, and I'm so grateful for all of the successes I've had, but I have sacrificed a lot on the way. Um,
Yeah, that's extremely common too with any kind of like full-time content creation, any streaming full-time, I'm sure like hosting full-time, all of that stuff is it's great because people don't go into it unless they really love it. It's not really one of those jobs that you can just like get a degree and then you go into like hosting on an esports stage. But at the same time, it is also very entrepreneurial, I would say, in the fact that you are going to be committing so many more hours than you would to a typical 9 to 5 job.
yes, exactly. Yeah,
And
that's absolutely true.
yeah, and it can be really stressful at times. So how do you feel like about your life now? This is getting kind of deep right now, but how do you feel? Do you feel like if you
No,
had like pursued if you had pursued like a job, a normal job in a normal industry with your degree versus doing this full time, do you feel like you're in a position in a space now that you can continue to do for the foreseeable future?
yeah, no, I hope so. And I've been so, so happy with my career and my life. And honestly, like especially this past 6 months or so, I have felt really, really happy with my life overall. And I'm just continue to be very lucky in my career, which I'm so incredibly grateful for. And especially this past, like I said, 6 months or so, I really almost feel like I've like settled in to my life long term, and like I almost feel like a lot less, I don't know, anxiety about my future than I used to have. Like, I used to have all this worry about, where's my life going? Like, is this something I can do for a career? Like, is this something that I can do and make money at? And at this point in my life, I have been so lucky and have had so much success that I know that, like, all right, I can relax a little bit. Like, this is my life. I am doing okay, at least, at it.
Yes, that's so good. And that
Yes.
speaks to something that a lot of people say in this industry too, which is like you need to have mental fortitude to be able to reach that
Hmm.
point that you're at now where you feel like you can finally relax and stop being so anxious about trying to like make money or be successful.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to do. And I know so many people want to do it and so many people are successful at it. But it's also, until you really find your niche, it can be really stressful and really anxiety inducing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even like whenever I was trying to stream full time, like it's extremely anxiety inducing. If you are
Yeah.
like, I don't know, if you haven't really found your space yet and you're still trying to find it, it is so hard to be in
Yes.
that headspace where you're just stressed all the time. You feel like you're constantly searching, like you haven't found what you want to do yet, but you know that you enjoy what you're doing now, but you're not sure if it's going to last.
Yes,
It's
yes, and then you get so hung up on like the numbers, on like, okay,
yes.
well, yeah, yeah, it's stressful. It
Mhm.
sucks.
Yeah. What do you feel like is the best way to get out of that?
For me, the best way to get out of that is just to remember that, like, hey, you know what? I have an awesome thing going. I have an awesome life, even if, I don't know, even if like I'm like stressed about like, oh, like I don't have as many subscribers on YouTube as I was hoping for or whatever, or like, oh, like I don't have as many Twitch followers as I want. Like, I just kind of take a deep breath, I take a step back, and I realize that the people that I have that are watching my Twitch streams, they're not just numbers on a screen. They are people that have taken the time out of their day to join my community and watch the content that I create. And in the end, I am grateful to them because, who am I doing this for? Like, am I live streaming on the internet for myself? Like, I mean, maybe, but in the end, I'm live streaming on the internet so that hopefully somebody out there gets entertainment from it and somebody out there enjoys the content that I create. So literally, no matter how many viewers I have, I'm just grateful that I have viewers.
Yeah, and I feel like that's good advice for anybody. Like, even if you're streaming to 1 or 2 people, that's still 1 or 2 lives that you're changing. I guarantee you, every single streamer, like, they have one person that they've impacted positively, which, side note, that blows my mind, the, like, amount of impact that Twitch as a business, like, as a company has had. Like, there's 2 million streamers, and they've impacted probably another, millions of people. There's no telling. So
I know
it's
incredible.
That's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
It is. And
I'm sure
that, like, I know people who have started watching my stream and then like I have gotten to know them on a personal basis and I've met them in real life, like just based off the Twitch stream.
Yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
Incredible.
And I'm sure you get messages too, like, you really helped me during this time in my life, or like, hey, thank you so much for streaming, I was having a bad day and you cheered me up. Like, that's crazy. What?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess to kind of answer your earlier question, like that's one of the reasons I do it is because it's so reaffirming when you get these messages. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because like for me, it's like you just think like, oh, I'm just like playing a fucking video game, and then you get those messages of like, hey, I'm having a really hard time, such and such is going on in my life, and yet I tune into your stream and I instantly have a smile on my face and I'm cheered up and I'm distracted from my real life problems. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like, that's why I do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Other than that, though, what else would you say motivates you to keep streaming and to keep creating content?
I don't know. That's a hard question, I guess. Just how many positive responses I get from people, because, like, I don't know. I guess I would never just want to do it for myself, but whenever I get any sort of positive response on any sort of content I create is always really, really nice for me to hear because, I don't know, I guess it's like, that's just, I don't know, like for me it's just like, I would be playing video games anyway, I might as well stream it. And if that brings a smile to someone's face, then like, that's awesome. When like, all I was going to do is, I was already going to be playing that game. I was already going to be playing some ranked Overwatch and like fucking failing at playing Reaper. So if I can stream it, then what the heck? Like I might as well if it makes someone happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you echo those same sentiments with like hosting events?
Basically, yeah. Which like, cause for me, like hosting events is really, really fun and like I like talking to people, and that's basically what you do as a host. And not everybody is receptive to like being interviewed, and like that's okay though. I try to kind of draw out people's personalities, and like when I interview them, I try to get some sort of like response out of them and try to get them to, say something spicy, I guess. But like if they're not into it, that's fine. I just want everyone to feel like included in the conversation, and I just want to kind of try to like talk to everyone and feel like, hey, like you have a voice, you're heard, and like let's hear from you. Let's see what you have to say.
That's so awesome that you're spreading that kind of like message for people and that is so needed to tell people in the space that like they have a voice, because so many of us that grew up gaming, like we were outcasts. We were not, we were never the cool kids. We were never like told that we had a voice, Nobody fucking listened to us.
I know, girl. I know.
Girl, stop me now.
No.
So, what are the differences between streaming from home where you can't see the audience versus hosting an event where you can see the audience?
It's funny because I was just talking about this earlier on my stream, and it's very, so, like, okay, when you're streaming at home, you have this whole, like, I can control the exact lighting and, the angles, and, like,
She's doing some really great facial movements and modeling for those of you that can't see, those podcast listeners.
So yeah, you have that whole, you can control every aspect. You can like perfectly control every single aspect of the broadcast. And that is a really fantastic thing when you're streaming. But when you're streaming, you can't control, like, I don't know, it's not necessarily going to be a high production value broadcast, but you can control every little aspect like that, like I was saying. So I can, make you guys think I'm, like, really pretty when in reality I look like Shrek.
My life.
Yep, you feel me.
Dude, I adjust that saturation so much.
Right, I know. Look how fucking pale I am. You don't know how pale I am.
Dude, this hair is actually not this gorgeously blue. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's like 10 different shades of garbage.
But it looks beautiful on stream because you can control it.
Do you not have like that same level of control with live events?
No, you don't. But there is some reassurance in live events because at least, like, I'm very fortunate to be hosting events out of the Mixer NYC studio because it is such a high production value. Like, we have this amazing hair and makeup artist. We have, like, really professional cameras, professional lighting. Like, everything is so high production value that, like, I don't have to worry about, what I look like because I know all the professionals are going to make me look pretty fucking good. But at the same time, it's like, I can't really control how I look. I can't control what angle they shoot me from. Like, when I'm streaming, I can just be like, oh yes, this is how I look when I play video games. But when I'm in the studio, it's like, there are fucking cameras everywhere. They're gonna shoot me from all my unflattering angles, and it's gonna be fucking terrible.
Do you have any photos or videos that are just, like, super embarrassing because of the way that they shot you?
Let me think. I don't have any that I can think of that are really, like, unflattering angles, necessarily. Mm-hmm. I mean... because, like, let's be real, you can't make me look bad. I'm just kidding. But I do have some funny, like, embarrassing moments that are, like, out of my control. And this is actually a good segue into one of my favorite hosting moments is from San Diego Comic-Con 2015. I was hosting at the Xbox Lounge. And there's a video on the internet called the Xbox Wheel of Unfairness. Ashni, have you seen this video?
No, I haven't.
Oh, girl.
Is it that good?
It is that good. To this day, and this was like 2 years ago. This is just over 2 years ago at this point. People still come to me and they're like, hey, have you seen this video, Xbox Wheel of Unfairness? And I'm like, well, yeah, that's me in that video. It's fucking hilarious.
What happens?
So, basically, I was hosting this little, like, it was a 4-day thing at Comic-Con. There were games like, I'm trying to remember, Killer Instinct was one of the games. They just did a different game every day. And then also literally every single person who played in our tournament, because it was like open to like anybody who was at Comic-Con, every single person who played in our tournament got entered into like this like raffle to see if they would win something. They could win like an Xbox One, a controller, like
I want to hear
Xbox Live, just things like that. And this kid, this was the one thing that made it like go viral. This one kid won an Xbox One, and like he like spun the wheel. It's like really dramatic, and then like he wins the Xbox One, and everyone's like, oh! And so I go, oh my god, he just won an Xbox One! Like, how do you feel? I put the microphone in his face, and he literally goes, yay! And that's it. He was like 8 years old. Like, he was like very young. He was like 8 years old. Like, I would have done the same thing because he was like very young. Like, it's this person he doesn't know shoving a microphone in his face. There are cameras on him. Like, he's already like really like scared of everything because he's literally 8 years old. He was scared of everything, so I do not blame him. But that video went viral, and it was part of a compilation called the Xbox Wheel of Unfairness. It was very, very funny.
Okay, I will make sure that we link that below for sure. For those of you that are listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, that is going to be glorious. I can't wait to watch it myself. So that's great. It seems like you've had a lot of fun hosting events, especially, and streaming, and just like everything on your journey. Can you tell me one unique lesson that you've learned throughout all of this that you feel like would help people out to kind of pursue what you've pursued?
I feel like my main lesson would just be, I'm trying to recall this quote because I feel like there's some famous quote, and I can't remember what it is, but it is, essentially it boils down to don't oversell yourself, but also don't sell yourself short. Basically, know your value. And that's my first one is know your value. Don't oversell yourself, but also don't sell yourself short. But my second one is just kind of be grateful and be humble, because also just know that even if you are great at something, there are 15 other people out there who are just as great as you are, that just maybe didn't happen to have the same opportunities that you had. And you know, you're not necessarily that special. Sorry, wow, this turned demotivational.
No, this is actually totally making sense. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear this because it's so true.
Let me start over. Pursue your dreams, kiddos. Wow, no, I honestly did not mean to go that, like, demotivational that fast.
I mean, it makes sense, though. Like, if there's... First of all, there are 2 million streamers, over 2 million that stream on Twitch. A ton of them want to host, but they don't get the opportunity ever. Like, just because, you know, people are afforded these opportunities and people are given these opportunities doesn't necessarily mean that the others that aren't given the opportunities aren't talented, right?
Exactly. You know, because like I will admit that, you know, a lot of my career has been luck. And yes, a lot of it has been hard work. I'm not going to sell myself short. I'm not going to say that I have not worked hard for what I have, because I absolutely have. But at the same time, that's not to say, like, somebody could come along and somebody could literally follow in my footsteps, like step by step by step, and somebody could come along and do exactly the same things I did and still not make it, you know? It's just the unfortunate reality is that a lot of it is luck. And it's really unfortunate, you know, and that's not to say like give up on your dreams or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just you never know when your card is going to be drawn, you know?
Yeah, and it's like what Oprah says.
Keep going.
It's like what Oprah says. She says she doesn't believe in luck. She says that all of her success has been because her hard work has met opportunity. And so she's always prepared once those opportunities come. She's always prepared to realize when the opportunity arises and to have the talent and the ability to go after it.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's putting it perfectly, is you have to be prepared for opportunities. And there are things you can do to better prepare yourself for those opportunities. And the unfortunate reality is that you cannot ever predict when those opportunities are going to come up. And sometimes they're just never going to happen for a person, but you always have to be prepared for the possibility of that.
Right. Which I guess is why people should be making content in the first place, because if you are available, like you wouldn't have been picked up by people if you hadn't just started a YouTube randomly, even with like not that great equipment. So
exactly. And yeah, exactly. That's the crazy thing, is it's like, look at like literally the very first ever thing I did as far as like pursuing my goals and content creation and all that was on YouTube. And yet if you look at my YouTube channel now, I only have like 4,000 subscribers. It's not my full-time job. It's not my, you know, means of paying my bills or anything. And I never intended it to be. I still, you know, to this day only make like $50 every 2 years off of YouTube. And yet, like, that is how I got my start. That is where I put my first posting work, and that is how I first got myself out there. And it was kind of a means to an end. And I got very lucky in a lot of ways that, you know, I just kind of started this crappy YouTube channel, and that led to something greater.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think, like, if anybody is interested in, you know, pursuing either hosting or full-time streaming, full-time content creation, like, just get started. And that's the hardest part, I feel like, too, is the very beginning. Just get started. Just ship it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the best quality equipment. You don't have to have a million followers day one. Like, you're not going to. And from the beginning, it's going to feel like you're creating content for nobody for a long time, and you're just going to work because you love it. But those opportunities will come if you keep doing it and you keep consistent. How important has consistency been for you? Like, consistently live streaming, consistently uploading on YouTube, consistently hosting events?
It's been crucial. It has helped a lot. Like, every time I get like in a rut, I just kind of like take deep breaths, take a step back, and then I go like pedal to the metal, and I'm like, all right, I need to be streaming every day. I need to be posting on YouTube as much as I can. And yeah, honestly, consistency is key. And the thing is that being consistent on just one social network, like, makes you feel so much more motivated to be consistent on others. And it also really kind of bleeds into your other, like, I don't really know what I'm saying, but like, I have personally noticed in my social networks, like, being consistent on one channel, on one social network, for instance, there's like a trickle-down effect almost. It gives you more viewers and more followers and more subscribers and everything on your other social media platforms.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I stopped making sense.
I mean, no, it totally makes sense. And I think, like, after you've kind of mastered, for instance, Twitter, I feel like Twitter is just something that every single person in this industry needs to have. And it's extremely easy to master. Like, you think about what kind of audience you're trying to build, and you ask yourself a couple of questions every single time before you post something. Is this post just for me, or is this for my audience? What is this post doing? Like, what's the goal of this post? Is this to get, like, people to engage with it? Is this for general information for people? Am I spreading a message? Like, what am I doing? All you have to do is ask yourself a couple of questions, and then you master Twitter at that point. Like, Twitter is not hard. And after that, then you can move on to maybe Instagram or
Mhm.
like Facebook or something, which is not really that common anymore. Do you use your Facebook that much?
I do. Well, I have because I have my I have a Facebook fan page.
Hmm.
But honestly, and as far as like social media goes, I have not found my Facebook fan page to be as valuable of a social network. I just don't feel like I get as good of like engagement, and I don't get really like as many followers and everything on Facebook as I do on like
Hmm.
Twitter and Instagram. But that's just like my personal experience. I don't know. I know some other people that use Facebook really effectively as like a marketing tool.
Hmm.
I maintain mine, but for me, it just doesn't feel like it's as effective as a marketing tool.
Okay. Yeah, I've actually not used it too much myself. I feel really terrible about that too because I hear all the time, not necessarily from people in gaming, but with more like the entrepreneur side, which is something that I'm also extremely involved in.
Hmm.
Like those people always say you need to have a Facebook group, like you need to get people active and involved. But I kind of feel like Discord is kind of the Facebook group of the gaming industry.
Yes, I would completely agree with you there. Honestly, like, and I love my Discord because I feel like, and like honestly, Discord has been such an amazing new tool, I guess. And it really is really great for like building a community. Like
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would say like Twitter and Instagram are more for like like getting followers and like tweeting like witty things and then your Discord is more for like building a community and getting to know your viewers and getting to know your subscribers and like once again like building a community around your stream or around your YouTube channel or around whatever you do and actually interacting with these other human beings on a day-to-day basis. Like and that's I think where kind of like where Facebook fails is that like my Facebook fan page, it's really hard to like interact with people. But if people join my Discord server, it's so easy for me to just like talk to them on a day-to-day basis and like I'm always in there hanging out and just being like, "Hey, like, oh, I just had tacos for lunch." Or like, "Hey, my stream schedule is or my sleep schedule is really messed up. I just slept till noon," kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a kind of a community that you don't really build around other social media platforms. So I guess that's why Discord is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like it really is. You can't really post about like, hey, I just had tacos for lunch on Twitter, right? Like you don't want to be that
Yeah,
person.
exactly. Nobody fucking cares. Like, I'm gonna tweet that and nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, but if you post it in Discord, because those
Yes,
people are like
exactly.
your real fans, they're gonna be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, they're gonna start posting
Yeah,
pictures of tacos. They're gonna start
exactly.
like talking to you about what kind of tacos they had last time. Like,
Exactly.
it's.
Exactly.
I feel like the amount of value that people get from Discord is just unfreaking believable. I don't know
I know.
how
I
we
agree.
grew community. I can't talk. I don't know how we grew communities on Twitch before Discord. Like,
I know.
isn't that
Honestly,
crazy,
it's
the
been
difference?
revolutionary. I know.
It has been so good. It's been just absolutely amazing. So, shout out Discord. I love you guys.
For real.
I don't know what that was. That was. But, yeah, so talk to me a little bit more about like your hosting stuff. I really am interested because, whenever told you about this earlier, whenever I first found like esports and this social like community aspect of the gaming industry, I saw hosting and I was like, that's sexy, I want to do that. Like, that's what, if I had to do something within the gaming industry, the first thing that I saw was hosting. And I didn't know about the behind the scenes stuff. Like, people don't know about that. You don't know
Yeah.
about that until you get more involved. So if somebody wanted to go after that like hosting career path now, how do you feel like would be the best way to do it?
What I would say is, I guess this is the advice I always give when people are looking to get into the game industry or they're asking, how do you do, hosting? How do you get on camera? How do you do casting? How do you work in the game industry? And especially like with what I do, I always say like just do it. Don't worry if you're getting paid or not, just fucking do it. Because when I first started off, like I said, I started my YouTube channel. This was like 6 years ago at this point, and nobody paid me at first. Like I knew that, fucking like IGN or like nobody was going to just hire me right off the bat. Nobody was going to pay me based on having no experience, but I promise I can do it, like attitude. Like that's not how it works. You need to prove you can do it, and then people will pay you for it. So that's why I first started my YouTube channel, like, out of my own pocket, bought like a green screen, a camera, a lighting setup, etc. And then luckily jobs followed after that. But if you want to do something, just do it. Don't worry about the paycheck, just do it. And then once you have done it, once you have like built up a hosting reel, once you've built up, a casting reel, whatever you want to do, then you can start submitting yourself to agencies or anything like that. Like, luckily, the fact that gaming is going so mainstream nowadays means there are so many more opportunities for this kind of stuff. Like, I am so lucky to be represented by an amazing agency that has gotten me a lot of hosting jobs. But, like, again, like, that would never have happened. I would never have gotten represented by them if I hadn't just started doing it by myself. Like, nobody is going to hire you right off the bat. Nobody is going to just come in and be like, we need you to host our event. Like, you need to go out and do it first and get, like, not paid for it. You need to just do it, even if you're not getting paid. And then if you're good at it and if you have the tenacity to do it, then you will start getting paid for those jobs.
What are those?
I just went on a rant.
No, not at all. What are those first companies that you would recommend, like, reaching out to if you wanted to just start trying it out?
Well, okay. I mean, I have to give a shout out to my agency, Cyber Solutions Agency, and I have been represented by them for about 5 years now. I want to say 4 or 5 years now. And Cyber Solutions Agency has been fantastic. As far as I know, they are the only agency that represents esports talent as far as hosting, casting, and pro playing goes. I could be wrong. There might be others out there, but I really love Cyber Solutions Agency. So, but other than that, I don't know. This is a hard question to answer because when I first started doing what I do, I was reached out to, like, I got very, very lucky, which again, brings back into play what we talked about earlier, how luck really comes into play. I started like hosting videos on YouTube, and I was reached out to by a company that said, hey, we'll pay you to do videos for us on a freelance basis, and then eventually they hired me on a full-time basis. So I guess to answer your question, my main answer would be Cyber Solutions Agency is the agency that represents me, and they are the main agency to reach out to if you want to do hosting, casting, pro playing, etc.
So anyone can just email CSA?
Probably.
And be like, hey, help me.
Because I initially reached out to them while I was working at Curse. Because I was hosting videos for Curse. And I remember, specifically, this is how I got involved with Cyber Solutions Agency, is I saw Smixity, Sue Smixley. I'm assuming you're familiar with her. She does a lot of...
absolutely.
Yeah, she does a lot of hosting in the CSGO industry. And I was following her for some other reason. I can't remember why. And then I saw that she was represented by Cyber Solutions Agency. And it was already hosting for Curse. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I'm hosting for Curse. Like, do you want to take me on as a new host and maybe give me some work? And they said yes. So I got really lucky there.
That's awesome. And then they just helped you like connect with those companies at that point.
Absolutely. And it's been fantastic with them because there are a great number of hosting gigs that I've gotten on my own. And when that happens, of course, CSA, Cyber Solutions Agency, does not take any like commission off of me because I found the job on my own. When they come to me with the gig, like they take the standard fee or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I find a job, I often bring my agents in to help negotiate contracts and stuff because I know, like, I trust them completely, and I know they have, like, my best interests at heart and everything.
That's awesome. So, do you recommend somebody reach out to an agency like CSA and then create a hosting reel, or do you feel like you could do it the other way around and maybe present that hosting reel to CSA?
I would recommend the other way around,
Mm-hmm.
because especially in this day and age, it just feels like there is so much competition out there. Um, if you reach out to them with nothing to show, I almost feel like they would just not take the time out of their day to even consider you, because from their perspective, like, what do they have? They you're just taking a big chance there.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say have a hosting reel. And I mean, like I said, like when I first started, it was just like really low production value. It does not take much. Just create some kind of hosting reel, and then you just have something to show to them to prove to them that it's worth their time to invest in you.
Yeah, so I feel like obviously any kind of like interview shows that people have or streaming would work really well. YouTube videos work well, especially any kind of like collaboration stuff, I feel like. And just
Mm-hmm.
interviewing in general, because that is a big part of hosting a lot of the time, is really good quality stuff to put together if you're looking into pursuing something like this.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like literally anything you have. Like for instance, Ashnichrist, if you are considering submitting yourself to Cyber Solutions Agency, I would recommend maybe compiling some of your interview questions from this podcast, put it into a hosting reel. Because honestly, like, this has been a fantastic interview. You've been doing such a great job.
Oh my
And
god,
like,
stop
like honestly, you've been asking like amazing questions. Like,
it.
you definitely have what it takes. So like, consider like clipping parts of this and putting it into your like hosting/interview reel.
Yeah, that's definitely a great idea. So let's take this to emotional town again. We're gonna take this like down a couple notches and go back
Okay.
into the the sadness potentially. There's no telling.
Okay.
So looking back throughout this entire journey, what do you feel like you could have done better?
Hmm. When I was younger, I feel like I did let my emotions kind of get, carried away, and I made some mistakes. And I guess I would advise people not to mix business with pleasure, because I feel like that's the main thing I did is kind of, doing what I do and working in video games and hosting and everything. You kind of, the lines get blurred as far as work and fun go. And it's really difficult because like your brand or your stream or whatever becomes your life and your personality. And it's really easy to kind of get swept up in like not like it's just really easy to cross the wires and be like, oh well, okay, like this is a person that I don't know if this is like a business associate or like a friend or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and like it's just so it's sometimes it's hard to differentiate the two. And now that I've done this for a while, I've kind of learned like to separate the two and to be like, okay, well, this is like a business thing, this is a work thing, this is a hosting esports work person, versus like this is a friend relationship social person, because they're two very separate things, and you kind of have to like that was the thing that I struggled with for a while. So you almost have to kind of keep them separate. And sometimes there can be some crossover, but there shouldn't be a ton of crossover, I guess.
Yeah, and what surprises me about that is that whenever you're working with people a lot, like, you can just naturally just kind of become friends with them because you're working together and you're around each other
Exactly.
so much. So
Exactly.
I feel like that would be so hard to kind of make those boundaries, you know, and to separate
Yeah.
people out of that. That's woo girl. I don't know how you do it. Woo girl.
I learned. For a while I didn't, and then I realized that it was holding me back, so I learned to do it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So I just have a couple questions left for you.
Okay.
Talk to me a little bit, since you just mentioned it, talk to me a little bit about like your personal brand and how you found that brand, how you developed it, and how important branding is, or how you suggest somebody to develop a brand. That's like 5 questions in one, but let's talk branding, shall we?
Shall we? All right. Yeah, so let's see. Branding. I don't know. It's something that, and here, to be honest, branding is like the one thing that I guess, struggled with more than like other people, maybe. But I think that it is really important to kind of find your voice and find your brand and kind of singularly identify the thing that sets you apart from other Twitch streamers or from other whatever. Or like, here's the thing is that anything you do, somebody else also does. So you need to give me as the customer like a reason to buy what you're selling. And that's not always easy to do, but that's just what you need to do as a content creator or as a public persona is you need to, essentially, and I don't care what it is, but you need to give the customers a reason to buy what you're selling. And if I could necessarily like teach what that was, then I would be making a fucking fortune now. But there's, I don't necessarily know how to teach how to brand yourself. All I know is that you need to brand yourself.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good advice. So, one last question. We're going to end this on an awesome note.
Love it.
Where are you headed in the future, and what are you excited for with your channel and with your hosting career?
Oh, girl. So here is my like 2-year plan, I guess, is right now I'm very, very happily hosting for Microsoft and for Marvel. And I love doing both of those things. And so I am basically hoping that I will continue staying here in New York for about another year or year and a half. And hopefully if Microsoft and Marvel will have me, that is my ideal plan, is to keep living here, hosting for both of them for about another year or year and a half. And at that point, hopefully I will have gotten enough exposure from both of those companies that I can return to Ohio, which is where I'm from, and host videos and events on a freelance basis, and also stream and create content on YouTube and stuff like that. And that is my hope, is that I will have had enough like, exposure and subscribers and viewers and stuff like that. So that wasn't very coherent.
No,
you get what I'm saying.
You got this. You got this. You're definitely going to get it. So you're going to have a year of growth and expansion and just badass branding and winning Overwatch.
Hopefully, yes.
That's the next year for you, for sure.
Yeah, that's the goal. Anyway, we'll see.
Well, it's been awesome talking to you, Jess. Thank you so much.
You too.
I had a ton of fun. We will definitely have to play some Overwatch again soon.
For sure. Thank you so much again for having me on your podcast. I super appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to throw out your social media links for everyone?
Sure thing. So as you guys can see, my Twitter name or everything is at Jess Brohard. You guys see that on the overlay. So that is basically my social media everywhere. That is my Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat, like any other random social media you can think of is all at Jess Brohard. And then my Twitch channel is just twitch.tv/Jess.
That is so simple. I'm so jealous. All right. Thank you, Jess, so much. It's been great talking to you. I'll talk to you later, okay?
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Alright, that's it for this episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed. As always, you can email me, ashnichrist@streamcoach.tv, with any questions, or if you have any constructive criticism, feel free to leave information down below. Definitely open to interviewing whoever you guys would like to see, as well as creating any kind of tutorial videos for you. All my social media and everything else is down below. Make sure you thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.